Jason, it looks like you've been working out.
Yeah, I've just been working on my gains. Sup, Jason?
How you doing?
Damn it, Tommy. You and those sick abs. Here, just looking super important reviews. My name's Steve, and today I'm going to go over some actual Ranger figures with the Bandai Legacy Collection, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Red Ranger, and Green Ranger. This is the standard release of the Red Ranger. I want to point this out because there is only one release of the green. But this is the one that you'll be able to pick up at your local convenience store, Toys R Us, whatever you. And not the San Diego Comic-Con version, which is the primary difference between that one and this one, is the box is different and it comes with the Power Sword, which this figure is clearly lacking. Which, if you guys don't know, my personal favorite out of the Power Ranger series, thing's fantastic, grew up with it when I was younger. Go watch it, it's on Netflix. Really actually excited to get into these figures because just looking at them from inside of the packaging, they kind of appear to be like figure arts figures. Or at least in terms of they have a lot of articulation. Do come with some varying accessories, but kind of minor, which is something I kind of expect to see out of most stateside retail figures. But it's still actually pretty cool from what I see, what's going on inside of the packaging. And it actually gets me excited to get these things out of there. So without further ado, for their packaging, overall pretty neat where we have some lightning effects going on in the background. And we have their Rangers on the bottom, but that appears to be more show accurate than what we have inside of the packaging. You have the Power Ranger logo in the back, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Also really like that you can actually see the figures on the inside. Like, overall, it looks cool the way it's sitting, and I can easily see this keeping in the packaging. Top of the packaging, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Clear plastic on the side. Other side, same. Then for the back of the packaging, I'm just going to go over it once because it's the exact same between each of the figures here. But it just shows you which Ranger comes with the part for their body, the other Rangers you can collect in the first series, and some random information on the bottom, made in China, and some legal mumbo jumbos. So, let's get these guys opened up out of their cardboard prisons. Alright, so now that we got these guys opened up out of their cardboard prison, first we're going to go over the Green Ranger here, mainly because he comes with the most accessories between him and the Red Ranger. And to start with, coming standard on the body is a pair of clenching hands, which is primarily to be holding onto his Dragon Dagger or the Sword of Darkness. And one thing to point out is, unlike the Red Ranger, he actually comes with an extra pair of hands, which how you swap these out is just like you would do on an Ultra Act figure or on most figure arts figures, is you're just going to want to pull on the hand going straight from the forearm to not end up breaking the peg joint right here. So just be a little bit careful, make sure you go straight out. And one thing I've noticed on this figure is it is super stiff when you're trying to get it out. The peg hole on the bottom of the hands are a little bit tight, so it's kind of hard to even get these back on there, but just like you just saw there, ideally what you're going to want to do is push straight onto the peg going into the forearm. And you don't want it to bend because you don't want it to randomly break, so you can kind of use your finger to give it a little bit of leverage when pushing in on it, so that it's not going to at least go in the one direction. And then you just pop it on. Good to go. Then for his other hand accessory, it comes with these little pinching fingers, which these are primarily for when you want him actually using the Dragon Dagger, which we will go over next. Has a lot of very nice details with some metallic silver here for the blade on the dagger, some metallic gold, some gloss black here for the majority of the rest of the weapon here. And it looks really nice. Like you even see the little dragon emblem on the inner portion of the handle here. It looks freaking amazing, which is really awesome to see in a retail release figure. And then with these fingers, you can pinch the Dragon Dagger in between them to get him to do his trademark flute blowing technique. For anyways, summoning the Dragon Zord. You can even get the other hand in on the action if y'all really wanted to. But what's really cool though is you can use these to kind of pinch the weapons if you need them to, or to be able to have like an extra hand position for also holding the Sword of Darkness, which is pretty awesome because this is the first figure I have that actually came with this accessory. Which what this is Evil Tommy's signature weapon. So we have here the good Green Ranger and the bad Green Ranger, which has a lot of metallic silver here for the blade, a little bit of gloss red here for the little emerald on the top section of the little guard area, and jet black for the handle. And what's really good too is it has some nice molded detailing here on the blade. Looks fantastic. The only thing that kind of bugs me is it's really soft plastic, so it's meant to be played with kids, which is really nice. You also don't really have to worry about this thing hurting anybody. But for collectors though, it can sometimes be a little warped. I ended up heating up mine to try to keep the blade as straight as I can, but out of the packaging it was a little bit bent. Hairdryer fixes everything. Can't stress that enough. And I think it's just really cool that this figure actually came with this, because you usually don't see like these kind of weapons outside of, say, the figure arts releases. And it just really makes this Green Ranger more of a standout piece for me because he pretty much comes with everything you need. Though I do want to point out with these hands, he doesn't really hold on to the Sword of Darkness very well, so you're going to want to be using the more clenching hands for the sword, which actually holds on to that pretty good. Their first final accessory comes with a little sheath holder for his dragon dagger, which just stick right into the peg hole on the side here. Pretty simple to do, just hangs off of the side of his hip, which I actually really love this, because then you can have a way of storing the dragon dagger and also having him portrayed with the Sword of Darkness. And it's kind of cool too, because you don't really see these too often with the American Bandai releases, because especially with the gigantic muscle-bound ones, where the weapons would just be pegged in on the side and kind of hanging off of there awkwardly. It's really cool to see these little inclusions on the figure to add a little bit of extra touch to it. I guess the only odd thing is that it's black and doesn't really match the belt here, but kind of matches the dagger though, so I'll give it a pass. Then for Tommy's details, the helmet on here actually looks freaking awesome. I like the molded details on here for the most part. Maybe we could have used a little bit more crisper paint around here for the teeth for the dragon's mouth and the helmet, but still really nice looking. You have the dragon's eyes, a little gold gem on the top of the forehead, and on the back, not too much going on there. It's just all pretty much green plastic here. Although on mine, it has a little bit of deformity in the plastic on the side here, but it's nothing too major. And it's a metallic silver for the mouthpiece. And then you got white here for the neck, which looks really good. His gold shield on his chest looks awesome, with this nice metallic gold over top of it, with some black detail work here on the front diamond plate. And on the back, nothing too much else going on. But majority of the figure is done in this green plastic, which overall looks pretty good. The only thing that's kind of weird is the texture for these guys is slightly rough. I think that's mainly just due to the quality of the plastic here. It's not smooth as the figure arts, but it kind of feels more reminiscent. If you guys play around with a lot of the Playmates Collector's Turtles, are very comparable to these guys in terms of plastic quality. Primarily, he is done in his trademark green with some white paint here for some of the details for the undersection where you would see, kind of like on the Red Ranger here where he has the diamond patterns on his chest. You can see a little bit of that showing up around his armpit area. And same on his glove, which looks really nice. And even has some little gold paint here for the trimming. And his gold bands around his bicep, which I'm surprised there's so much paint detail on this figure. They didn't really skimp out on it like some of the other releases that they've done, which is pretty sweet. Especially you can see here on the Mmpr. I'm actually really surprised at how much detail they really got in here. With you have the dragon corn on the center, you even got some red paint on the outer trimming, some black, some gloss for the Mmpr holder, and white paint here for the belt. Another thing to point out on this figure too is you can definitely tell that this suit is a little bit skin tight, especially right there in the butt region. But primarily you can be looking at this from the front, where you have this really nice six-pack and you see pretty much all the muscle definition showing up from underneath, which I actually kind of like. It kind of gives this figure a little bit more style, sort of how the Ultra Act figures have a little bit more muscle definition than what you actually seen in the TV show with the actual suits. Same with this. Definitely a little bit more stylized than what you see with the TV show, which I feel the figure arts versions are easily the most show-accurate Rangers you're going to be getting. But for me, I really like the stylized look, because I just can see if they brought this back to TV shows nowadays, this is something they would probably go with. Or even just like, this is like convention Tommy, like if we saw Jason David Frank nowadays wearing this suit. This is how it would appear to me. And for his legs, you see a little bit more of the muscle definition that we've seen on the rest of the body. And his Green Ranger boots, which more of that triangle green pattern on the top, and that gloss white for the bottom. Then we'll move on to the Red Ranger, who, for the most part, pretty much the same figure. There is a little bit of differences with the chest area here between the two, because he has the shield and some excess plastic here where you have the gold, where, of course, Red Ranger doesn't have the shield, so he's not going to have this little added accessory. But pretty much the forearms are the exact same between the two. Legs, exact same between the two. Abdomen, same. Morphers are going to be different, of course, and helmet. But other than that, pretty much everything else is the same on these guys. But just to give you guys a little bit of a better look at them, the Red Ranger helmet does actually look really nice. You get to see a little bit semblance of the teeth, but I do have the same qualm where it might have been nice to maybe see a little more detail with the teeth region. But you have some metallic silver here for the mouth guard. You can see the little T-Rex eyes done this nice gloss black. Same with the visor on the head. And then the helmet, plastic quality, pretty much the same as the Green Ranger. You got a little bit of a smudge on the side here, but nothing too distracting. And then for this Ranger, you can actually get a good look at the chest, which you get to see a lot of muscle definition there as well, which I think actually looks really cool and makes this Ranger a little bit more intimidating in appearance. The only thing that bothers me about this, and it's on the Green Ranger here too, and I didn't really point it out here because you don't get to see it that well, is on their shoulders. I don't know what's going on there. It looks like there's like a slight bit of armor plating on the top, and on the Green Ranger, the shield here kind of hides everything, so on here, it doesn't bother me at all. But with the Red Ranger, it's just really weird looking. Like, they couldn't have smoothed that out right there. I don't know if that's for something that's going to be coming out in a later release or that has something to do with other figures. Not 100%. So I just don't get why they added that little lip right there. It just, maybe they wanted to make this look more like a t-shirt or something, like a muscle shirt. Actually, now that I think about it, it's probably having to do with the joint here. Because if they kept it the same size as this section right here, it might not have been able to have the same amount of articulation. That's really the only thing I got because it had to slim down to go into the bicep. But I feel like they could have maybe molded that a little bit better to transition better into there. And for the rest of his body, it's done in this trademark red with white patterns. The Mmpr on the front looks really nice too, where you get his Tyrannosaurus coin on the center. Most of the rest of the details are the same as the Green Ranger, other than the Mmpr is silver instead of gold. And that's really all I got to say much about the Red Ranger in terms of detail here. And for his accessory, he comes with a holster that you peg onto the same side as the Green Ranger. But this one's actually white, so it does match the Ranger a little bit better. And he comes with his Blade Blaster, which is in the disengaged position, so primarily that's just meant to really sit in the holster, call it a day. So, personally, in terms of his accessories, I'm not that big of a fan of these. Like, the holster's kind of cool. I do like that he comes with the Blade Blaster, and it has some nice detailing on here. It even has some metallic silver here where the barrel is. Looks pretty good overall. But, I wish, since they didn't give us the Power Sword, which, why didn't they give us this with the Power Sword? I understand they want to make something exclusive for the Comic-Con version. That's cool. Maybe they should have just, like, especially with the way his shoulders up, gave him the shield for the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Have it be able to attach onto it. Because to separate the seam here, I'm sure they could have worked something out to add that into the box. Would have been cool. And he could also maybe came with the Dragon Dagger as well. Because to me, that just makes more sense than him not coming with the Power Sword. Because him with the shield and the Dragon Dagger, you barely see it in the TV show. So it being an exclusive and not coming with the original release isn't going to affect me at all. But what affects me is him not coming with his trademark weapon. The weapon you see in the majority of the show. And with it being disengaged, I don't really want to pose it with him. So primarily, he's just going to be standing on my shelf just striking random karate poses, I guess, instead of actually having his sword. Which kind of has me worried for the rest of the Rangers when they get released, them not having theirs as well. Now moving on to their articulation, it's literally the same between the two, so I'm just going to go over the one figure here. Where the Red Ranger's head can look about that far up, that far down, can rotate all the way around, so pretty good range of motion. Might have liked to have seen some way of actually having the head be on a little bit of a pivot, maybe having a little bit of a ball joint. But it does sit there pretty flush with the neck, so overall that works pretty well for me. For shoulders, can go up about that far, inwards about that far, rotate all the way around. Has a rotation here at the bicep, a double joint here at the elbow, so he has really good bend here. Rotation at the forearm, and also a rotation at the hand, and can swivel back and forth, and the hand has a little bit of play with it as well. For his chest, can move about that far back, that far inwards, and can rotate side to side, not all the way around though, but pretty good play there as well. His legs can go outwards about that far, so you can get him to do splits, inwards about that far. Rotation at the upper part of the thigh. Has a double joint here at the knee, so a really nice bend there as well. Has a rotation here at the calf, and his foot can go a little bit forward, a little bit back, can wiggle a little bit side to side, and also can rotate all the way around. And then for the Red Ranger's final accessory, I'll just show it to you guys briefly because we don't have any of the rest of the parts here for the Dino Megazord. But he comes with the body, which is exactly what you're going to get. And the paint job on the body, at least, looks actually really nice with this metallic silver here for the front chest plate. You get some yellows, some blues, some more silver plastic here on the side. Same with on the back here. You can see a little bit of the Tyrannosaurus tail. And the head sculpt's actually pretty nice here as well. And can also rotate all the way around. And has a little bit of play with it because the head's actually on a ball joint. So this actually gives me a lot of promise that when you get all the other pieces, because you can see that this is going to be on a ball joint, and these ones are going to be as well. I don't imagine the legs are going to be superposable because these don't really move at all, so the legs will probably just hook into there, call it a day, I imagine. Might have a little bit of a bend to it. But it'd be cool to see what they do with the arms up here. Might be nice to maybe actually have a little bit of a swivel at the waist here as well. But for the most part, for it just being kind of like an added accessory to the Red Ranger, still pretty cool. And here are the Legacy Collection Mighty Morphin Power Ranger figures next to what I call the Roid Rage figures. Or the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger figures that came out of the Bandai America, I believe it was Super Mega Force toy line. Which I always thought these guys were pretty cool because they were slightly articulated and came with a decent amount of accessories and super overpowered looking, which was kind of cool, makes them stand out in the collection, but I do appreciate these guys a little bit more for being slightly more toned down versions of these guys. And here they are with the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Legacy figures, which I do like these ones in comparison to these because pretty much for $5 extra you get a much larger figure, about the same amount of accessories. And they overall have the same kind of body shape as the Legacy figures. The only thing I really liked about these guys over the Legacy collection is, as a total package, these figures are pretty cool. Because with the packaging, they were a nice homage to the original figure toy line. And here they are with their respected Legacy Zords, with the Tyrannosaurus from the Dino Megazord and the Dragon Zord. And I want to bring up this comparison with the Ultra Gridman and Ultraman Ginga. Because, to me, I feel like a lot of people are going to try to compare these guys next to the Figure Arts line. Which to me, which is odd to say because they didn't do Power Rangers, but they kind of remind me a lot of the Ultrac figures. Because with these guys, they do look very similar to what you see in the TV show, but they're slightly more stylized and muscular than what you saw out of the suits. And to me, that's just what these Power Rangers remind me of, just more muscular versions of what we remember from our childhood. So overall, with the Power Ranger Legacy Collection, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Red Ranger, and Green Ranger, in the end, I'm a little conflicted. Because for the Green Ranger, I actually think that he's a fantastic figure for his $20 price tag. Love the accessories he comes with. His articulation's amazing. And is a nice alternative to what we got out of the Figure Arts line. But for the Red Ranger is where I have a little bit of issues. And that's just because he doesn't come with his power sword, which I feel like was a pretty big letdown on this figure. And really has me worried for most of the rest of the line because with him not coming with his power weapon, I imagine most of the other guys won't as well. And they could probably redeem it by maybe with those other 4 that they're going to be releasing. Maybe give us an Alpha 5 figure that comes with all the power weapons. That would be sweet. So instead of getting the weapons for the Red Ranger, we got part of a Megazord. Which, I do like the concept, but I don't think it would have been that hard to give us a power sword for this. And I know that, yes, the San Diego Comic-Con version has it, but I can't merit that one. Especially for what I see people trying to get for it on eBay compared to this guy. You're better off just getting the one in the store if you missed out on that version already. So with the Red Ranger, I still would recommend it. If you really love the Red Ranger or plan on picking up all the Rangers in the line, then definitely don't miss it on the Red Ranger. But between the two, the Green Ranger is definitely more and more phenomenal. But what do you guys think? Have you guys picked up the Legacy Collection figures? What's your favorite episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Or is Ninja Storm just more your thing? Please let us know in the comments. Look closer picture of these guys on Facebook and want to click the link in the description below. And help us defeat those kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe, become a Ranger today, and see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.